that Yaesu even brought out about, I don't know, 5 years ago, something like that, and then discontinued it relatively quickly. I don't know why, to make way for new models, I suppose. So I won this a few years ago now. There's a job lot of 3 handhelds, and it was actually a different one that prompted me to bid. But ironically, this is the one that I've ended up using the most. So they're not bad radio, it's quite rugged, reasonably waterproof, I think. I wouldn't worry if it got a few raindrops on it. So if ever you're in the market for a monoband 2-metre, reasonably rugged second-hand handheld, then if you find one of these on a well-known auction site, you could do a lot worse, in my opinion anyway. That's the Yaesu ST252E. Mike 0, X-ray, Mike X-ray, Mike 0, Mike November Golf. Back to you, Mike.
Yeah, fine business. Thanks for the recommendation. I've got to be honest with you. I've got when I first got into the hobby, well, apart from the Baofeng, which I think everybody has to buy at some stage in their hobby, I bought a Yaesu FT60, and I still haven't found a handheld that I prefer to that. And I've bought several, FT65, FT70, FT3 I think it was, no, Kenwood 3DH or something like that. And in the end of it, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go out and buy another FT60. So I picked one up quite cheap, second hand. So I've actually got 2 now, a main one and a standby one. That's how good they are. I've had to re-record the video because I didn't press record, Edmund. So I'm re-recording it now as we speak. But anyway, this is still proof that Edmund Spicer goes on GB3DC. That's like having Arnold Schwarzenegger walk into the local Burger King, isn't it? Back to you, Ed. And then I'm going to say good night because I've got things I need to be getting on with. But yeah, I did come on to the repeater, which I never use repeaters. You're quite right. I'm a simplex guy, but I came on specifically to talk to you. So there you go. From M0MNG, M0XMX.
M0XMX from M0MNG on holiday in Derbyshire for the final. Yeah, I got the impression you didn't use repeaters routinely, as many hands don't, and it's not like I use them continuously. But they are a nice little extra thing to have in the armoury of the hobby, aren't they? I'm very dubious we would work simplex from where I am to where you are. So thanks for coming up specially on GB3DC. I reckon the locals will be pleased when I go home tomorrow morning because they'll think finally this bloke who's been monopolising it will leave the repeater free for other people to use. There's been quite a lot of activity on, and I reckon that if I add up all the simplex contacts I had last Sunday from the Irish picnic site, and all the ones that I had on Wednesday afternoon from the place that you suggested, Mike, plus all the contacts through GB3DC, then all told it must be somewhere near 50 contacts altogether, the vast majority simplex. And I've worked 3 DXCCs, England, Wales and Scotland. There was a lovely list on Sunday afternoon which allowed me to work a lady who was up a Scottish soda mountain who was doing an activation. Well, lovely to meet you earlier this week. We must do it again one of these years, Mike, maybe at Newark in the future if they don't cancel the Amfest again, because it should have been this weekend, shouldn't it? So, look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you for going out of your way to come onto a repeater for my benefit. And 73 to you and to Teddy and to Mrs. Mike as well. And I'll listen for your final. And all the very best from Chadderston on the outskirts of Derby. Mike 0, X-ray, Mike X-ray. Here is Mike 0, Mike November Golf.
Yeah, roger that, Edmund. Wow, do you know what? It's no effort, honestly, and I would go to a lot more effort for you. Being a superstar and of the internet fame ICQPodcast. So there you go. In actual fact, I was going to say, yeah, Dominic, who's the repeater keeper of GB3DC, does a brilliant job, you know, amazing job. So, yeah, he will have no problem whatsoever with you using it to the max. I think most repeater keepers are pleased when people use the features and the facilities that they lay on. What really disappoints them is when people don't use them. So, yeah, you're doing him a favour in actual fact, and the rest of the hobby. The other thing that I was going to say, let me just think what it was now, because I kind of forgotten. What was it now? Oh yeah, right, okay, so tomorrow. I don't know if there's any way that you can delay your journey, but tomorrow there's a thing going on. A friend of mine called Tim, whose call sign is Golf 5 Tango Mike, a few weeks ago, or no, maybe a bit longer than that, maybe a fair few weeks ago, pioneered the idea of getting a lot more activity on 2 meters with a scheme called oh god, what's it called now? Something Alive, 145 Alive, right? 145 Alive. I'm sure you've heard of it. And basically, what it is, it's an effort to try and get lots of people on 2 meters. And tomorrow, this is the second event. And I was just speaking to one of my friends who's going off up onto high ground, Mau Cop, to work kind of like the North Midlands, Staffordshire, Wales kind of thing. So if you was around, then it'd be great to have you playing a part in that as well. I can't, unfortunately, but I'm sure you'd enjoy it, and I'm sure you'd get a few more calls in your logbook. Back to you for a quick final and your thoughts on that. And then I'll say good night. M0MNG, M0XMX.
Well, oddly enough, when I'm at home, Tim G5TM lives about 5 or 6 miles down the road from me, so I know him very well, even though we haven't met in real life yet. And for the first edition of 145 Alive, he was on Kithurst Hill near Arundel. I was on Chantry Post near Storrington, and there's about 3 miles line of sight between those 2 high grounds. So yes, I'm well up on 145 Alive. Unfortunately, I can't postpone my leaving here because it's a condition of hire that I have to be out by 11, so that the person who owns this house, it was an Airbnb job, you see. The person who owns it can then clean it and make it ready for the new arrival who'll be coming in at 3 o'clock. However, I do have a cunning plan. From where I get on the M1 to where I come off at the M25, there are 6, I think, motorway service stations. So my crazy idea is to stop at each and try to make at least 1 QSR on 2 meters, a kind of motorway service station pub crawl for the 2 meter band, and try and get at least 1 contact. And if I'm successful in that, then I'm sure there'll be a YouTube video with it, Mike, over.
Hey, do you know what? That's not even a bad idea. I'm sure you can come up with an award scheme like Worked All Britain or Worked All Postcodes. It could be like Worked All 145 Alive stations. But your first one has got to be oh God, sorry, what's his call sign? G4VUC, I think it is. I might be wrong. Sorry, I'm not very good at call signs. Because he'll be your furthest north. So you need to talk to him before you set off. And I think the event starts at 2 o'clock. So you'll need to have your foot down there, Edmund. All right, my friend, listen, it's been absolutely brilliant meeting you again. And over the air as well. So I look forward to catching you again sometime soon. And yeah, okay, Echo Link. Maybe that's a way we can keep in touch. You never know. All right, I'm going to say thank you very much for your efforts over this week, and thanks for keeping the bands alive as well with your taking up the time of your holiday. Speak to you soon, Edmund from M0XMX. Bye for now.
I told a lie, Mike. I did work you earlier this year on 40 metres FSD when I was using the Amberley Club call sign of Golf X-Ray 3 Whiskey Mike uniform. But Amberley Museum has now reopened to the public, so we've gone back to using our permanent special event station call sign, which is Golf Bravo 2 Charlie Papa Mike. So I should have said this is the first time we worked on 2 metres, but GB373, have a good evening, or have a good weekend, I should say. Enjoy, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Playing radio is part of a holiday for me as far as I'm concerned, and my job has been so stressful in the last couple of months. I've reached the point where I basically needed a holiday big time, or I was going to collapse in a heap. So I can feel even now that the holiday has certainly done me good. Cheers for now, Mike, and thanks once again. Mike 0 X-Ray, Mike X-Ray. This is Mike 0, Mike November Golf, Simon Clear with you, but continuing to keep a listening watch on the mighty GB3DC. Cheers for now, bye-bye.
Thanks, Ed. Take care. Safe travels. Bye for now. M0XMX clear. Thanks to the repeater keeper for the use of GB3DC. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and I'd add that same thanks as well, particularly if he's listening. I'd love to work him if he is. Are you there, Mr. Repeater Keeper of GB3DC? This is Mike 0, Mike November Golf, listening through.
Well, there you go. Edmund Spicer.